everybody, I'm Mercedes Moore here at Touche Studios, about to do my first photo shoot. Can't wait.
Where are you from?
I'm from California and I just moved here to Houston about a year and a half ago.
What do you like about Houston?
I like everything about Houston. They turn up.
What do you expect to be doing in the next 5 years?
Probably making enough money to own my own business.
What are you planning next to be doing in the next 10 years?
Still owning my own business.
Jenna Gagnier lived two lives, each with his own name, each with his own world. To her friends and family, she was simply Jenny, a loving daughter, a protective sister, a loyal friend, and an ambitious woman who worked tirelessly for everything she had. To the public, she was Mercedes Moore, a glamorous Instagram model with over 2 million followers, a rising star in the world of social media, and an undeniable presence in any room she walked into. There was something magnetic about her. When Mercedes entered a club, heads turned, not just because she was beautiful, which she was, breathtakingly so, but because of the energy she carried. She exuded confidence, but not in an arrogant way. She knew her worth, and she made sure others did too. Whether it was a high-profile music video shoot or an intimate gathering at a friend's house, she had a way of making people laugh, making them feel special, making them want to be in her presence. But behind the curated Instagram posts, behind the dazzling selfies and high-profile appearances, there was Jenna, the real person. At home, she was goofy, laid back, and unapologetically herself. She loved to lounge around in an oversized t-shirt, one eyelash half on, scrolling through TikTok while laughing at the most ridiculous videos. She adored her family and made sure they knew it. She never let a phone call end without saying, "I love you." Her relationship with her father, Morr Gagnier, was especially close. She was a self-proclaimed daddy's girl, always begging him to cook for her. His smothered chicken was her favorite, and she made it a tradition to have him over just so she could enjoy his cooking and listen to his stories. Her mother, Janetta Grover, was her spa day partner, her go-to for long talks on the couch, the one person she could always be completely vulnerable with. And then there was her little sister, London, her mini-me, her best friend, her shadow since childhood. Jenna had always been driven, always had an eye for success. As a child, she was already making money, braiding hair in the garage with her friends, charging $60 a head before she even hit high school. She didn't just dream about success, she chased it relentlessly. She tried college, even took a stab at becoming a dental assistant, but she quickly realized it wasn't for her. She wanted more. When she moved to Las Vegas at 18, she discovered the world of exotic dancing. It wasn't just about the money, though she made plenty of it, sometimes walking away from a single weekend with thousands in cash. It was about independence. It was about control. It was about carving out a life on her own terms. She adopted the name Mercedes Moore. Mercedes for the luxury she aspired to, and Moore because, well, she always wanted more. The transition from dancer to influencer was seamless. With her striking looks and natural charisma, she quickly amassed a following. She was in music videos, rubbing shoulders with celebrities, making connections that would push her even further. Drake followed her on Instagram. Offset knew her name. Fashion Nova cut her checks. But despite her growing fame, she never let it change who she was. She wasn't the type to be starstruck. She had been in private sections with A-list rappers, sitting on plush leather couches while bottles of the most expensive champagne flowed freely, but she never let it get to her head. If anything, she found it amusing. Quote, "These dudes really ain't all that," end quote, she would say laughing. She was also fiercely independent. She didn't rely on men for money. She built her own brand, invested in her own future. She was preparing to launch a leggings line and a hair extension business. She had moved beyond dancing. She didn't need it anymore. She was an entrepreneur, a self-made woman, and she was proud of that. But let's get to the obsession that led to tragedy. Despite her success, Mercedes never sought the spotlight for the sake of attention. She valued privacy. Unlike other influencers who lived for clout, she was selective about what she shared online. She didn't post about her relationships. She didn't flaunt her location in real time. She had seen too many women in her industry become targets, and she wasn't about to let that happen to her. But sometimes, no matter how careful you are, danger still finds its way to your doorstep. On August 27, 2021, a man drove from Florida to Texas, tracking Mercedes down to her Richmond apartment. How he found her exact location remains a terrifying mystery. Did he follow her home? Did he buy information from a hacker? Did he simply watch her social media carefully enough to piece it together? No one knows exactly how he got inside. There were no signs of forced entry, meaning he either manipulated his way in or waited until she was vulnerable. What is certain is that once he was inside, he brutally murdered her, strangling her in what investigators later called a fit of obsessive rage. When her father arrived 2 days later, the sight that awaited him was something no parent should ever have to witness. At first, he thought she had fallen down the stairs, but as he got closer, the truth became clear. His daughter had been murdered. Upstairs, 34-year-old Kevin Alexander Accordo was dead as well, his body near her bed, a knife still lodged in his neck. He had taken his own life after killing her, but before he did, he left behind a chilling message. In lipstick smeared across the walls, he had written disturbing paranoid rants. Janae led me to believe she cared about me, but wore another man's ring. I was used for money. I should have stayed in Florida. I wish I never loved her. They were the delusions of a man who had convinced himself that he was entitled to her, that she had wronged him in some way, that her life was his to take.
Model. She was special. Just like she had a few million followers, that's all fine and good. But she was a person, and we miss her a lot.
Searching us out to get the facts. Janae was loved, funny, goofy, crazy as hell. I know, and I shouldn't say that about my daughter, but that's my daughter.
2.6 million followers on Instagram knew her as Mercedes Morr. What happened on Sunday was the family's worst nightmare. Attacked, they say, by a stalker.
How this guy found her, I don't know, but me walking in and finding my daughter and finding him committing suicide was just something that a parent should never bear.
She's very cautious about her surroundings. Unfortunately, someone basically was stalking and killed my baby. Police say Kevin Accordo lived in Florida and did not know Janae. His only criminal record, traffic violations. It does hurt as a parent to know you're bearing your child before, you pass away.
Feeling as a father that you can't protect your daughter and something happens like this?
Janae was just a light, to be honest, and not just outside of the home, but she was very protective of me, protective of her dad, and she just was always the sweetest thing.
Kevin Accordo was not someone Mercedes knew. He wasn't an ex-boyfriend. He was not a scorned lover. He was a stranger, an obsessed fan who had been stalking her online for months, possibly even years. He had convinced himself that they had a connection, that she led him on through her photos, through her presence in his life, even though she had never spoken to him. The news of her death spread like wildfire, but so did misinformation. The internet did what it always does. It twisted the truth. making up its own version of events. People speculated she had been killed over money, that she had been set up, that she had been an escort and had conned the wrong man. Her family was devastated, not just by her loss, but by the way the world painted her. Mercedes Morr wasn't just an influencer. She wasn't just an Instagram model. She was a daughter, a sister, a friend. She was a woman who had worked tirelessly to build something for herself, only to have it ripped away by a man who thought he was entitled to her life. London, now unwillingly thrust into the public eye, struggled to cope. She no longer felt safe. How could she? If someone could do this to her sister, what was stopping it from happening again? Even now, Mercedes' Instagram remains active. Her follower count continues to grow. Her pictures still capturing the essence of the woman she was. Beautiful, confident, untouchable. But for those who loved her, she was always Janae. And she was so much more than what the world saw on the screen. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Crime Alley Documentaries. Until next time, stay safe.
Motive is still the biggest mystery in the murder of Instagram model Miss Mercedes Morr. The 33-year-old was found strangled to death in her Richmond apartment Sunday. The man identified as the suspect, 34-year-old Kevin Accordo from Florida, died by suicide.
What about his car? Do you know how he got here from Florida? Did you recover a car?
That is information. That is information that is part of the case that I won't release. It has to do with tracking him from how he got to Texas.
Another question police are still trying to answer: how did he get in? There were no signs of forced entry, and it's a gated complex. Somehow, though, he found a way in.
You have to kind of understand those apartments. You can enter 3 different ways: through the garage, through the back door, through the front door. So it makes it difficult to understand.
But police in the small town of Richmond vowing to get answers in what's been the highest profile murder case they've seen in years.
There will be closure for the family. Before this case ends, there will be closure for the family.
We asked police about restraining orders and if this suspect had a criminal history. So far, they've found none of that. Police did tell us they've been in touch with this man's family in Florida and hope to learn more about his motive. Back to you.
So much to investigate. Grace White wrapping it up. Thank you.
Please leave any theories or comments you might have for us down below. We're really interested to know what you think about this case.